Today's topic, how to be successful if you're lazy, lazy by nature, productive by design. Everyone who works with me thinks I am one of the hardest working people that they have ever met. The truth is, I am one of the laziest people that I know. I do not get more done because I have more discipline than anyone. I get more done because I have made being lazy harder than doing the work. In this video, I will show you how to be successful when you're naturally lazy, whatever stage your business is at. Here is a quick overview of what we will cover. I will start with why I am lazy by nature and yet incredibly productive by design. To get there, I will show you why our brain is built to choose the lazy road every single time and why using discipline to fix it is unsustainable and will not save you however hard you try to push through. Then we get to the part that actually changed how I run my business, where I show you how I make the lazy choice the hard one and the hard choices the easy one, and how I put a real cost on skipping the work so that avoiding it hurts more than doing it. I will also show you how to spot laziness when it hides in plain sight as busy work, so you stop working hard at all the wrong things. By the end, you will know how to build a business that runs on systems instead of how motivated you feel when you wake up every day. Before any of that, let me introduce you to the person all my systems exist to manage, me, with everything stripped away. If you took my systems away tomorrow, every one of them, here is what would actually happen. I would wake up whenever my body felt like it. I would reach for my phone before I was properly awake, and I would lose the first 2 hours of the day to other people's message or doom scrolling, telling myself I was just being a good friend and a good family member or just trying to decompress. I would answer everyone and jump on every call and feel busy from morning to night without moving my own business forward an inch. I would eat wherever was quickest and skip the gym. So by the afternoon, I would be too tired to think straight. I would work hard. The week money got tight in my business, then coast the moment it came back in. My income would be so inconsistent, swinging up one month and dropping the next month. That is the real me, left alone. That is exactly who I am. Everything you might call my work ethic or my discipline is just really a set of systems I built to keep that person away from my business. I choose to live my life actively, not passively. Lazy by nature, productive by design. The gap between the lazy person I just described and the hardworking one people think they see is the whole point of the video. I am lazy by nature and productive by design. Both are true at once, and the productive side of me only exists because I stopped fighting my default state of laziness. For years, I thought the solution was to become more disciplined. For example, wake up earlier by sheer force of will and guilt myself into wanting to do the work I did not want to do. It was never sustainable simply because you cannot out-discipline who you actually are forever. So I gave up trying to change myself and change the setup around me. Instead, I took it as a given that if I am left to my own choices, I will always reach for the easy option. And then I went and found a way to make the right option the easy one instead. So when people call me hardworking now, they are looking at the output. For example, they see the deep work that gets done before most people are awake and the content and the follow-ups that go out whether I feel like doing them or not. What they cannot see is that none of it depends on willpower. It runs on systems that are built on purpose, so the lazy version of me never gets what it wants. The work ethic people credit me with belongs to those systems. I keep building and sharpening them, and then make sure the version of me that shows up for the business is the best one I have got. You are lazy because your brain is built that way. So why are you lazy? Why am I lazy? It is simple. Your brain is built to save effort, not to spend it. Given two ways to reach the same result, it will steer you towards the one that costs less energy. This is the standard setting in every human brain, and it is old. It kept our ancestors alive back when burning energy for no reason would literally get you killed. So when you call yourself lazy, most of the time you're just describing a brain that evolved to protect your energy. The trouble is that same wiring now runs your business. The task that would move your business forward is usually the hard one and the one with no obvious place to start. So when you sit down to face it, your brain feels the discomfort and points you towards something easier. For example, you may answer a few emails and tidy the CRM instead. It feels like work, and it is work, but it is the easy work you're using to get away from the hard thing that you're meant to do. The research on procrastination keeps landing on the same finding. It is an emotion regulation problem, not a time management one. You are not avoiding the task because you cannot fit it into the day. You're avoiding it because it makes you feel something uncomfortable, and putting it off makes that feeling go away for a while. Sending a cold email often feels fine because it's easy to do. Making a cold call where someone can reject you on the spot is the part your brain fights hardest to avoid. One more thing worth understanding: the motivation you keep waiting for before you start any hard thing in your business is mostly down to dopamine. It pulls you towards whatever is quick and easy to do, like doom scrolling on your phone and calling it research, or buying another book you do not need because you have told yourself it will help your business. The slower, uncomfortable work that actually pays does not give you that same hit because the reward is not instant. So if you sit around waiting to feel ready to do the important things in your business, you'll be waiting a really, really long time. Why discipline will not save you? So if your brain is wired to dodge the hard work, the obvious answer is to use willpower. You can grit your teeth and push through an obstacle. We are often told to become the kind of person who does the hard thing whether they feel like it or not. I tried that for years and it does not work. Now we actually know why. For a long time, the science said willpower was like a muscle that gets tired when you use it all day, so by the evening, you have less of it. This was used to explain why it is easier to order takeaway and skip the gym at night. The hypothesis made sense and appeared to be true. Then, researchers went back and tried to reproduce the original studies at a much bigger scale. 23 separate labs, over 2,000 people running the same test, and the effect basically vanished. The idea that willpower is a tank that drains through the day does not hold up in the way that we were initially told. So the real problem was never that you lack discipline or that your discipline runs out. Discipline is just not something you can count on in the first place. Some mornings you wake up ready to run through walls, and other mornings you do not, and you cannot predict which one you're going to get. Whatever your bedtime routine looks like, building a business that leans only on discipline is like building a house on a shaky foundation. It is only a matter of time before it collapses. So instead of trying to win the fight every single morning, you take the fight away. If the important work only happens on the days that you feel disciplined, your business only grows on those days too. What you want is a setup where the work gets done to a high standard on your worst days as well as your best days, even when you are tired and completely uninspired, without you having to summon willpower or anything else. Make the lazy path the hard one. So, how do you get the work done without willpower, without motivation or discipline? You use the thing that is actually running the show. Laziness always takes the path of least resistance. It finds the easiest option, the one that makes you feel good, and chooses it every single time. It is easy to treat laziness as the enemy because we blame it for our lack of results, but notice the pattern even there. Blaming laziness is itself the easy option because it is easier than facing the truth. I treat my laziness as an instruction instead because I have accepted it as my default state. If I am going to take the easy path, then my job is to make the easy path the right one, the one that gets me the result that I want, and to make the lazy option the hard one. I do not fight the pole, I simply point it where I want it to go. There is a well-known example of how powerful the default is, and it has nothing to do with business. When a country wants more people to become organ donors, the single biggest thing that moves the number is not the campaign or a clever emotional advert. It is which option is already the default. When people are signed up by default and have to opt out, well over 90% stay donors, even when they are reminded they can change it whenever they want. When people have to actively opt in and tick a box themselves, often less than a quarter become donors. Same kind of people in both cases, the same good intentions. The only thing that changed was which option was the easy one. That is how much the default decides, even for something as serious as this. So think about how much it decides in your business. It is the difference between doing the income generating work that is genuinely hard and hiding in the easy busy work that brings in nothing, or even worse, picking up your phone and scrolling instead. So here is how I put that to work in my own life, starting with the most important thing of all, which is when I actually do my work. My biggest weakness is other people needing my help. Left alone, I will start the day answering messages and taking calls, telling myself I'm being a good friend or a good son, or that helping people who cannot pay me is somehow good business. The truth is that helping other people and helping businesses for free is easier than doing the hard work of bringing real money into my own business, so I hide in it. I cannot trust myself to resist that once the day is moving, so I do not try. I get up at 3:50 a.m. and do my 4 or 5 hours of real work before anyone else or any business is awake. There are no messages coming in, no calls to take because the whole world is still asleep. This is the strongest move there is. I am not making the distraction harder to reach. I am choosing the one time of the day when it does not exist at all. By the time everyone else starts the day and people begin pulling at me, my important work is already done and I am in full flow. So the choice I am left with is to carry on with the work I already have the momentum in, or to hand myself over to other people. And at that point, carrying on is the easier option. This does not mean I ignore everyone. It means I get to choose when I help and how much of myself I give to it. I know the business does not need me all day, every day, so I decide exactly when I help other business and how much I take on in a week. There are times I have to make the easy option harder to choose. Starting with my phone, left to myself, I will pick it up and check one thing and lose hours to scrolling, usually telling myself that I'm doing research for the business. I know this about myself, so during my working hours, my phone is not on the desk or in my pocket. It is in another room. To waste those hours now, I would have to get up, walk to the other room and go get it. And the lazy part of me usually cannot be bothered. And even if I do get up to fetch it, that walk is enough to snap me back to what I'm supposed to be doing. I did the same thing with my laptop. When I sit down to work, the only applications I let myself open are the ones tied directly to the task in front of me. Opening something that would distract me is long enough of a process that I am too lazy to bother getting around it. I also set up everything the night before, my clothes, a clean desk, my water already poured, because if I sit down and the space is a mess, I will use tidying as a reason to put off starting, so I take that excuse away before it can show up. If I have to choose what to wear that morning, I will tell myself that looking and feeling good is key to being productive. If I have to get up to get water, I will turn it into a reason to grab a snack or another drink. You get the idea. Every little gap is a door the lazy version of me walks through, so I choose to close the door the night before. That leads to the next thing I took off my plate, which is decisions. Every decision you leave open is another chance to default to the lazy option, and every one you can remove is one less door for it to walk through. So I took out as many of the small repeated ones as I could. For example, I eat more or less the same meals every day because the moment I leave it to how I feel, I will grab something quick, high in calories and sugar that gives no real nutritional value and leaves me tired by the afternoon. When the meals are already decided, there is no moment where the lazy version of me gets to choose the junk food. And look at the upside. I am eating well without spending a thought on it, and my energy holds steady instead of crashing every afternoon. It means I can work longer without burning out. What looks sad and punishing to you is my age. I go to sleep at the same time every night too, so getting up at 3:50 a.m. stops being a fight I have to win and just become the thing that happens, and I wake up well rested and ready for the day. And with all those small choices gone, I have more attention left for the decisions in my business that actually matter. None of that is me being disciplined, it's me making sure I never need to be. Every one of these scenarios work the same way, and I can go on listing everything I do. We'll be here all day. I did not turn into someone with superhuman self-control who can resist his phone, jump out of bed before the world wakes, or focus on my business. I just built a setup where doing the wrong thing takes more effort than doing the right one. The laziness is still there, I just gave it nowhere easy to go. But making the right thing easy to do is only half of it. Some work will always be hard to choose no matter what tactics you employ, and this requires a different approach. You need it to cost you something real when you skip it. Make avoiding the hard thing cost you. The same way the easy things give you an immediate result, you have to make the hard thing cost you something immediately too. For me, every single month, I put a serious amount of my own money on the line. It is set up to be given away automatically to various people and good causes. If I hit my activity targets for the month, I get it all back. If I miss them, it is gone. And it is never an amount I can easily shrug off. It is big enough that losing it hurts me more than the discomfort of doing the work I am trying to avoid. The reason this works comes down to how we're wired. We feel a loss far more sharply than we feel a win. Losing £1,000 hurts twice as much as the good feeling of finding £1,000. So promising yourself a treat for hitting your target barely incentivizes you to do the work. But the thought of losing money you already have will get you out of your chair every single time, no matter what mood you're in. This concept is not new. Economists call it a commitment device, and the idea is thousands of years old. In the story of Odysseus, he had to sail past creatures whose song lured sailors to their death. He knew that in the moment he would not be able to resist, so he got his crew to tie him to the mast and told them to ignore him no matter how hard he begged. He took the choice away from his future self because he knew that his future self could not be trusted. This is exactly what I do with the money. I do not always trust the version of me who shows up on a bad day to do what is necessary, so I tie him to the mast in advance. Choosing to do the hard things on purpose is a lot easier for me now, as you can imagine, so this is really just an insurance policy that makes sure my level never drops. But money is only one of the ways I make skipping the important work hurt. There are two more. The first is the experience of knowing exactly what it feels like to have nothing. And I am far more scared of going back there than I am of any hard task. So on the days where the easier option is to do nothing, I do not go looking for motivation. I just remember being broke, and that is more than enough. The second is a trusted person. I answer to someone other than myself because it is far too easy to let yourself off the hook when you're the only one keeping score. Add those up and skipping the important work becomes the harder option. Doing it becomes the easy way out. You can be lazy and busy at the same time. I want you to understand this. Laziness does not stop you from working. Instead, it gets you to do the wrong work, the work that is easy to do. Laziness lets you confuse being busy with being productive. You always feel productive at the end of the day because you are exhausted and you got a lot done. Usually the easy, non-income generating activities. Your income eventually suffers because you keep skipping the important work that would have brought money into your business. Laziness in this form is hard to catch because it does not look like laziness. It looks like hard work, and nobody feels guilty for spending the day working hard. In the words of Peter Drucker, there is nothing so useless as doing efficiently the thing that should not be done at all. A whole day of doing pointless tasks well is still a wasted day. The way I catch this form of laziness is now by listening for the excuse I give myself every time I am about to dodge the hard work. My brain always hands me a reason that sounds noble. For example, I can always justify doing important research for the business even though I already know more than enough to start the hard work that is pending. The reason always sounds good, and that is the tell. When I catch myself explaining why the easy thing is actually the important thing, I know my lazy default is chasing the thrill of a quick reward. It does want to work, but it wants the path of least resistance to that reward. So it spins me the lie that this other thing matters more. I stopped trusting how busy I feel as a measure of my productivity, and I started measuring the things I do that count towards growing my revenue. The activities I track are not all worth the same. The work that actually brings the money is weighted the heaviest, and all of it ties back to revenue generation. So at a glance, I can see whether I spent my day on the work that pays or the easy work that just feels good. If I had a busy week but the numbers did not move, the scoreboard tells me straight away. It does not care how tired I am or how many small tasks I ticked off. It only cares whether I did the work that matters. Feelings can lie, numbers do not. Being busy is one of the easiest way there is to feel productive in your business while it goes nowhere near making money. Here's the bottom line. I am not a hard worker who found some secret level of discipline. I am a lazy person who made being lazy harder than doing the work. Every system I have shown you is built for that one purpose, making the lazy choice harder than the work. I get the important work done before the world wakes up, when there is nothing easier to run to. During the day, the distractions sit further away than the work does. The small decisions are already made, so my default is always the right one. For my business, there is real money and a real person on the line if I skip. And at the end of the week, I trust the numbers, not how busy I felt. So the busy work can never fool me. Once I stopped fighting my laziness and accepted it, it turned into an advantage for my business. I genuinely cannot be bothered to go through the whole process of priming myself, fighting off procrastination, and working up the will to start. So I build a system that removes all of that, and most of the work is already done before I even begin. I would rather spend one hard week building something that clears the obstacles out of the way, something I can lean on for months to help me do the important hard task every single day. That is still me being lazy, just pointed in the right direction. And it is also exactly how you build a business that grows. The difference between the laziness that negatively affects people and the laziness that works for me is not the laziness itself. We are all wired the same. The difference is I do not hide from it. Most people simply fail to acknowledge when they are being genuinely lazy, and because they never call it what it is, it ends up running their business and their life. I call mine out. I know exactly what my default is, so I can build around it before it severely affects my bottom line. So no, you do not need more discipline, and you do not need to become a different person. You need to make the lazy option the hard one and put a cost on skipping the work that matters. If you can do that, your laziness stops being the thing that holds you back and becomes the thing that builds your systems for you. I am one of the laziest people I know, and I am also one of the most productive. Both are true because I accept who I am, lazy by nature, productive by design. One last thing before you go, everything I just walked through comes down to doing the work that actually matters instead of the busy work that only feels good. The hard part is knowing which is which. This is why I built my app Aseyi to do. It is an AI business coach that tracks the 6 systems your business run on, scores where each one stands, and tells you the single most important thing to work on next, so your laziness has nowhere to hide. Think of it as a version of the scoreboard I talked about sitting in your pocket. It is free to start, so download Aseyi on iOS and have a look. Thank you for sticking with me to the end. If this was useful, please subscribe because I have more of this coming. Give it a like so it reaches more people who need it, and tell me in the comments the one lazy habit you're going to build a system around this week. See you on the next one.